What's up, AFC defending champion Cincinnati Bengals, and welcome to the 2022 record predictions. Joining me once again this year is my good friend and diehard Bengals fan, B Money. Welcome, B.
Hey, thank you, man. Who Dey Bengals fans, what's up? Thank you, Josh, for having me. I cannot wait to get into it. It was a great year last year. Hope we see it again this year.
And we're definitely going to get into it. But first, I got to apologize to you and all the Bengals fans. Last year, me and Sean did the record predictions, and we did not see you guys having the season that you guys had last year, especially that run going all the way to the Super Bowl. So, congratulations on that.
Thank you, man. It was a dream to watch. And don't feel too bad. I'm not sure too many people, even inside of Cincinnati, would have assumed that we would have gone that far last year. Even me, ever the optimist, I only had us at 8 wins. I never expected in a million years I would see the Bengals in year 2 with Joe Burrow off a brand new knee, with Zach Taylor's head practically being hung by a stake in the city, and everybody wanting him gone, to go from, rock bottom, losing your rookie, your franchise savior in year 1, to coming a second away from winning the Super Bowl. If the O-line holds up for one more second, Joe Burrow hits Jamar Chase wide open down the sidelines, and you have maybe the greatest moment in Super Bowl history right there.
Yeah,
but
it was that close. So that was last year. Now there's expectations to your Cincinnati Bengals because people are like, okay, now we know what you guys are capable of. So what do people need to know about the Bengals going into this season?
That the Bengals are improved. Everybody in the AFC got better, and that's the whole talking point.
True.
But the Bengals got better where it mattered most.
Where's that?
Up front. Offensive line was the biggest issue of last year. Anybody with a brain cell knows the offensive line cost the Bengals Super Bowl. They went out and signed Ted Karras, who's going to play center. Very underrated center coming out of New England. He's a stalwart. He's been there. He's done it. He's great up front. They signed Alex Cappa to fill he'll probably play the right guard spot.
Yeah.
That has been a turntable for years and years. And you finally have some stability there. Alex Cappa is a very good interior guard. Played over there in Tampa Bay. Has experience in the big moments. And then the crown jewel, if he's healthy, is La'el Collins. The Cowboys let him go. They broke up there. If Collins is healthy, he's a top 5 right tackle in football. So you go from arguably the worst offensive line in football. Joe Burrow has been sacked an insane amount of times. He's under pressure a ton. You go from no stability because no one's staying healthy, no one's playing good, to established guys up front. And the only question mark now is who's going to play left guard. Otherwise, you have an established offensive line that can keep Joe Burrow healthy, and when up front, not getting sacked under pressure. And we've not had that. And the flashes we've seen of Joe Burrow when he's actually, not under pressure, the league stands no chance if Joe Burrow even has a minute fraction of a second to dissect your defense. Look what he did last year with how bad the offensive line was.
He got sacked to league high 51 times.
It was disgusting. Joe Burrow was under pressure, and he constantly made things happen.
Right.
And Joe Burrow, graded out as the best quarterback per PFF in a clean pocket. Now you have more opportunities for Joe Burrow to be in a clean pocket. That's going to open things up for Jamar Chase more, Tyler Boyd down the seams, T. Higgins, probably maybe the most underrated receiver in the league. T. Higgins dropped over 1,000 yards last year while missing time. He got tackled at the 1-yard line 4 times last year. So he's a menace. He's the perfect complement to Jamar Chase. And then a better offensive line, better passing game opens things up for Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon, how do you think he'll fare this year? You think he'll be healthy like he was last year?
Joe Mixon, I always thought that the injury thing was overplayed with Joe Mixon.
Right, okay.
He was hurt in 2020, absolutely.
Yeah.
He had selective surgery in 2019. Because we had that long week because he played week 2. He only missed like 2 games to clean out his knee. Otherwise, he's been healthy. He's been that dude. Like 2020, he got hurt. The Bengals were bad. They said, you know what, Joe, just sit out. It's not worth you coming back. And you see when Joe Mixon's rolling and he's a focal part of the offense, everything flows better.
Okay.
with Joe Mixon leading the charge.
Now that's all great. You guys, your wide receiving core is ranked right now by PFF as the number 1 wide receiving core going into this season,
Which it is.
protecting Joe Burrow. Joe Mixon probably gonna have a big monster season. That's all great about the offense, but tell me about the defense. What should people expect about that?
I think you should expect another good year for the defense. The defense quietly played really good last year. Mm-hmm. The biggest weakness for the last couple years with the Bengals has always been their run defense. It's always been just putrid. And 2 years ago, we came out and signed DJ Reader, probably the best nose tackle in football, the best run stopper, pure run stopper in football is probably DJ Reader. And you saw him fully healthy. The addition to B.J. Hill last year from the trade, Larry Ojedobe, they really shored up the middle, and we started to clog those running lanes. Trey Hendrickson is probably the most valuable acquisition we've had in years because in 2020, the Bengals had 17 sacks. That was dead last in the league. And if you can't get after the quarterback, guess what? They're going to sit back there and pick you apart. We added Trey Hendrickson. We were top 10 in the league in sacks last year. We added Cam Taylor-Britt in the draft, Daxton Hill in the draft, Tyson Anderson in the draft, an edge rusher from Florida. So the thing is, we got faster on defense, more versatility because Jesse Bates is kind of a question mark right now.
Right.
If he's going to play because of the franchise tag, we offered Jesse Bates a very, very generous contract, but the Bengals don't hand out guaranteed money. So he's a question mark. If he's going to play, Eli Apple won't be starting. I know everybody loves to clown on Eli Apple, but he wasn't that bad last year. So I expect another good defense for the Bengals because the defense really helped us out through the playoffs. The defense, time and time again, when we needed that stop, the stop was there.
You guys were getting turnovers too. That's how you guys won that Tennessee game, that late turnover off of Tannehill.
Logan Wilson is going to take the next step. Akeem Davis-Gaither, who plays that safety linebacker hybrid, robber role, will be back. And I expect the defense to again feast. I mean, we had a good defense last year. It wasn't great, but you don't always need a great defense. You need a clutch defense that can hold it together in big moments, and that's what the Bengals defense did. And in the end, they almost did it in the Super Bowl.
Right.
There was that iffy holding call on Logan Wilson or pass interference, whatever it was, on Cooper Kupp. And, I mean, if you go back and watch that, it's really hard to see how that's a flag. And if that bounces your way, maybe the Bengals win the Super Bowl. I mean,
yeah, they were right there.
The league comes down to one flag bouncing this way or one flag bouncing that way. And that's how razor thin that game was.
It really is. Now, the AFC, like you just mentioned earlier, got a whole lot stronger. The Baltimore Ravens within your division, they were riddled with injuries last year. They're coming back healthy this year to try to challenge for the AFC North. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a war in the AFC. Now, Bengals fans, as you guys see down below, that is your schedule. Me and B-Money, we're going to go from weeks 1 all the way through 18 and try to gauge what your record might be. And at the end, also give a ceiling and a floor. Now, if you have any hot takes or anything like that, I also want to hear those in the comment section down below. And B-Money, I don't know if you have any here tonight.
Not so much a hot take, but I wanted to add something to the offense.
Okay.
I do want to see the offense get more consistent.
More consistent in which way?
Just across the board. The Bengals offense was super dependent on big plays last year.
Okay.
Deep passes to Jamar Chase to kind of spark the offense, but you saw too many times against subpar teams, even good teams, the Bengals would stall out. You would have 3 and out, stall drive.
Yeah.
You can't have that. You have to find consistency because those big plays, while they're nice, are not always going to be there. And you saw when we couldn't hit those big plays and when they weren't open, the offense really sputtered because there was just nothing there. Because the offensive line wasn't holding up. You can't hit those pop shots. Things weren't rolling. And then we have to be better in the red zone. I think at one point we went 9 straight drives in the red zone with no touchdowns. It's inexcusable to have. I mean, T. Higgins is 6'5". Jamar Chase is a fade ball god. He bullies people in the red zone on those back shoulder throws. You have now Hayden Hurst, who's a big athletic tight end. You have, Joe Mixon can – give the Joe Mixon at the goal line. You have to find consistency in the red zone. because those turnovers we got, they may not be there next year. These close games that we were in time and time again, you're not always going to get the ball to bounce your way like it did for us last year. So we have to get more consistent across the board of sustaining drives and not relying on, the 55-yard pass of Jamar Chase to do something crazy in space, or T. Higgins to make a crazy jump ball catch, or so on and so forth. You have to be consistent across the board, or you're not going to continuously win games.
I completely agree. That's great stuff. You ready to go through the schedule?
I very much am.
All right, here we go, folks. I want you guys to tell me what your record's going to be in the comment section down below for the Cincinnati Bengals. The season schedule looks pretty tough. It's ranked right now the third hardest schedule going into the year. So let's start off with week number 1. The Bengals in the jungle hosting division rival Pittsburgh Steelers. B-Money, who you got?
That's a win for the Bengals. The Steelers are in their transitional period. Mitch Trubisky is the quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't think Mitch is a very good quarterback, but the Steelers are a good team, and they have good offensive weapons. They have some good offensive weapons too. They have a really good defense. Their secondary is kind of mid. They let Joe Hayden go. Their 2 starting corners are atrocious, to be quite honest. So it should be a field day with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins bullying their corners. My bad, but their defensive line is good. T.J. Watt is a menace.
Right.
Larry O. Well, he's not a good every down defensive tackle. He's a good pass rusher. He's a good 3-tech. That's what he feeds on. Alex Highsmith is a really good underrated defensive end, and their linebackers are good. Devin Bush, great potential, and Miles Jack is a really good linebacker when he's healthy. I think he fits well in the system. But week 1, you just won the AFC Championship in January. This is your first time home since then. You got to come out with a big statement win and show you're legit this season. Give me the Bengals all day.
I love it. I'm going with the Bengals as well. Starting off 1-0. Week 2, on the road in Jerry's World against the Dallas Cowboys. You guys win?
We win. I think we win. I think this is a good time to get the Cowboys because Michael Gallup, I assume, is not going to play in this game. He just tore his ACL in December. Even if he is playing, he's nowhere close to being where he needs to be. CeeDee Lamb is good, but the rest of the offense, there's really nobody else outside of Lamb and Zeke.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Dalton Schultz is a good tight end, but he's not an elite tight end.
I like Tony Pollard a whole lot.
But there's no number 2 right now in Dallas that's established. It's probably going to be, what's his name? They just drafted him. Jalen Tolbert's probably going to play that 2 role for Dallas.
They're really high on him right now.
They are, but, the offensive inconsistencies, you're kind of putting Dak in a different situation. He doesn't have that safety blanket of Amari Cooper's gone. He doesn't have Michael Gallup to lean his back on. Right now, it's really CeeDee Lamb is your main guy. And the Bengals have a pretty good secondary. I think that we can compete. I think we can hold CeeDee Lamb in check. The Dallas defense is good, a little bit inconsistent. They have DeMarcus Lawrence, who's a very good pass rusher. They have some good interior guys. Obviously, Mr. Trayvon Diggs. Say what you want. Trayvon Diggs gets his hand on the football. That's what he does. It doesn't matter if Jamar Chase cooks him for 230 yards, which he probably will. Diggs finds a way to put his hands on the ball and makes plays. Michael Parsons is a fantastic linebacker. He comes off the edge sometimes. He's rangy. He does a good job. But overall, Dallas offensive line lost La'el Collins. They drafted Tyler Smith, who I thought was a huge reach for Dallas. I think the Bengals are the better team than Dallas right now. Week 2, early, no Gallup. Give me the Bengals with a win.
This was a tough one for me, but I think you're right. I think it's a good time to play Dallas, play them early. If it was later in the season, I think it might be a different story. I think they're still going to be a pretty damn good team this year, offensively especially. But I'm going to go with the Bengals to win here in Week 2. Going into Week 3, staying on the road in MetLife Stadium against the New York Jets. A young team, good up-and-coming team with Robert Saleh. They had an outstanding offseason, but how much is it going to translate into this year? It's going to be a work in progress.
Absolutely.
Bengals are going to win this one?
I think they're going to win this one, and this is another team that I'm glad we're playing early because I think down the stretch, the Jets are going to be a team you don't want to face. I think once the Jets get things going, they kind of build some confidence together as a team. They may be a team that you're looking at week 12 and you're like, fuck, we have to play the Jets. That could be a team that could knock some teams off later in the year. They had maybe the best offseason out of anybody, if you want to be honest. They improved their offensive line. Their offensive line is really good. They have some great weapons. Corey Davis is a really solid number 2. Obviously, Garrett Wilson. They drafted Breece Hall. They took C.J. Uzomah from the Bengals, who he's not a fantastic tight end by any means, but he's a great culture guy, a good locker room guy, and he gets open in space and can make some things happen. Their defense is really talented. Carl Lawson's coming back, who's one of the most underrated guys in the league at getting after the quarterback. They have some great interior pressure with Rankins and Williams. You'll see Jermaine Johnson play on the outside of Carl Lawson. And their secondary has a ton of potential. I mean, they drafted Ahmad Gardner, who didn't allow a single touchdown in college. DJ Reed on the other side is kind of mid. Their safeties are kind of mid, but Salah's a good defensive guy. Yes. I think they beat a young Jets team early. But, again, it comes down to Zach Wilson. I was watching Zach Wilson earlier today, and I saw some red flags with his film last year. So the Jets have talent, but it comes down to if Zach Wilson makes the growth from year 1 to year 2. And that's what's going to be the Jets team. If Zach Wilson takes that step, the Jets could be a 7-8 win team. If Zach Wilson doesn't take that step, maybe it's 3-4, and you're questioning, hey, is Zach Wilson really our guy for the future?
Yeah, we'll see. Week 4, back at home, Thursday night football against the Miami Dolphins. This is an incredible matchup. I love it because you got the Bengals wide receiving core, the Dolphins, the wide receiving core, now that they added Tyreek Hill to go with Jalen Waddle. How good is Tua going to be? Remains to be seen. But I'm going to go with Cincinnati to get the dub here in week 4.
I've also got Cincinnati here, but this is a really, really close matchup. And again, much like the Jets, it comes down to the growth of Tua Tagovailoa because everything is there. I mean, honestly, I think the Dolphins' offense in terms of receivers can go tit for tat with the Bengals. I mean, it's really hard to get much better than Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Both fantastic speed guys, both the demons with the ball in their hands, both can make guys miss. Tyreek Hill is a deep threat that I've had in a while. Mike Gesicki is one of the most underrated tight ends in the league. He's a big physical tight end down the seams. Their offensive line, much like ours, is a question mark. They did add Teron Armstead, who is a very solid left tackle. Their defense, though, is really good, too. They have some question marks at edge rusher and, linebackers. But, I mean, their secondary is nails. I mean, Byron Jones, a safety. Brendan Jones, a safety. Byron Jones and Xavier Howard are maybe the best 1-2 punch at corner in the league. So this Dolphins team is really talented. Mike McDaniel is the question mark as a coach. We don't know what he's going to bring to the offense, but again, with the Jets, I think it's a team you want to face early. Don't let the Dolphins build that momentum. Don't let Tua get it figured out yet. I think we take the Dolphins game.
All right, heading into week number 5, Bengals on the road against their division rival Baltimore Ravens. I mentioned them earlier. I think Baltimore is back this year. Wide receiving core is still a little questionable because they lost Hollywood Brown and they're really relying upon Rashad Bateman. But I'm going to go with the Bengals losing here on the road, week 5.
I also have the Bengals losing this one in primetime. I think that the Ravens defense will be much improved this year. Yep. They're healthy. Oh, yeah. The Ravens always give us issues in Baltimore, besides last year when Jamar Chase busted their shots. But the Ravens are really banged up. But it's on Lamar Jackson now to show his growth. He showed some holes in his game. They really gutted his offense, taking away Marquise Brown. I would say they have the worst receiving core in the league. But the Ravens aren't built to pass the ball. They're built to run the ball. They have a fantastic run scheme. And bringing back J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, they get their 2 leading running backs back. And I think that puts the Ravens in a good spot. The Ravens are a talented team. They always give us problems. So I'll give the Ravens the win at home in primetime.
All right, week number 6. Bengals on the road against the New Orleans Saints, and I love this matchup. The Saints, I think they're going to be pretty damn good this year, especially if they can get some consistent quarterback play. The defense is going to be tremendous at the very least. But I'm going to go with the Bengals winning this one on the road.
I got to take the Bayou boys going back home and shutting up the Saints. But I agree, the Saints defense is really talented. I think they have a really good defense, especially that secondary. That secondary
Yes.
can go toe-to-toe with anybody, especially if Paulson Adebo pans out. C.J. Gardner-Johnson was there. Obviously, Tyrann Mathieu and Marcus May, Marshawn Lattimore. Obviously, if Michael Thomas has to be healthy, he has to show he's still that guy. They added Chris Olave, which I thought was a reach where he was drafted at, but Olave is that deep threat that they need opposite of Michael Thomas. And also they have Jarvis Landry, who's a fantastic safety blanket for a guy like Winston, because Winston likes to get a bit reckless with the ball. He throws the ball in bad situations, tight spots. With a guy like Landry, who's always open underneath, maybe that alleviates some of that pressure to force the ball to a guy like Olave, or probably Marquez Callaway is going to start in the spot of Michael Thomas. And obviously, no Kamara helps because he'll be out on his suspension.
Mm-hmm.
But Mark Ingram's still that dude. It kind of limits the passing game a little bit, because obviously Ingram's not that guy that Kamara is. But the Saints are a talented team. But I think the Bengals are just a little bit better. So give me the Bengals.
All right. Week number 7 at home versus the Atlanta Falcons.
We don't even have to talk about this.
I think this is an easy win.
This is a wash.
Sure.
This is a wash. The Falcons are obviously one of the worst teams in football. The only bright spot in Atlanta is Kyle Pitts. They just drafted Desmond Ridder, so he could be a guy for the future. But Atlanta's clearly transitioning to a rebuild stage. There's not a lot of talent there. This should be a one-sided ass kicking, and the Bengals are swinging the hammer.
I completely agree with that. Now heading into week number 8. On the road in the dog pound against the Cleveland Browns. This is primetime football. Monday night. Who you got?
Give me the Bengals if Mr. Massage Therapist is not playing. If Massage Therapist is playing, I'll take the Browns. The Bengals have really struggled with the Browns for whatever fucking reason. The Browns have owned our shit. Baker Mayfield, has fucking part-time ownership of the Bengals. He always finds a way just to dominate us. Baker's not there, but the Browns are an immensely talented team. I know I give the Browns a lot of shit for being the Browns, but they've built a top 7 roster in the league. They have a fantastic defense. Myles Garrett is the best pass rusher in football. Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit, Jeremiah Owusu-Kamara is a fantastic linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
They have a great offensive line. They have a really good head coach. I don't like the receiving core as much. I'm not a big Amari Cooper guy, but it doesn't matter. The Browns are not built to pass the ball down your throat.
No.
The Browns are meant to beat you up front with Nick Chubb, their dominant offensive line, and Kareem Hunt. And I think that the Bengals are ready for this time. But if you put Watson in there, that changes the whole game plan. So if Watson plays, give me the Browns. No Deshaun Watson, give me the Bengals.
Okay. Week number 9. Bengals at home against the Carolina Panthers. I'm taking Bengals.
I am going to take the Carolina Panthers.
Woo! Upset. Okay.
Why? Because Baker, for whatever reason, has the Bengals figured out. And the Bengals always, even when the Bengals were bad, they would always lose a game they should win. All good teams drop games they should win. And the Panthers have some talent on defense. Obviously, they have my favorite corner from last year, J.C. Horn. They have some good pass rushers. Their offense is not completely hopeless. Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore. If Christian McCaffrey, God bless his soul, can stay healthy, he's a fantastic weapon on the backfield. I think the Panthers might be a bit better than people think. And if it's Baker Mayfield playing, Baker Mayfield just owns the Bengals. And I just think the Bengals are going to drop a game they should win. All right. And I'll give it to the Panthers here.
After that, it's week 10. That's a bye week. Like that bye week?
Yeah, I would say so, because it really gets us rested for the back half gauntlet we have to run.
Right. And let's get into that. Week 11 on the road against the Steelers. We got
That's a win.
That's a win. Sweep.
It is a sweep. I think that we're no longer the little brother. Little brother went to the gym, got beefed up. Now we're the big dog. It's time to start swinging the hammer back on the Steelers. For so long, the Steelers have just owned this franchise. I mean, you can look back through Big Ben days. I mean, we consistently lost to the Steelers. Captain Fat Fuck is not there anymore. Now it's Joe Burrow you have to deal with. And I think Joe Burrow is just mindset is different than anything we've had. I think we match up really well with the Steelers. I think that this will be about the time that Kenny Pickett starts taking over and leading the offense. I don't think that Mitch is going to hang around long. I think that this is when probably you'll see the switch over to seeing what Pickett has. And I'll take our chances against a rookie quarterback. The offense is good. He has weapons. I mean, the Steelers' offense is not, like, hopeless. They have Najee Harris. They have Deontay Johnson. They have Chase Claypool, George Pickens. They have a really talented offense. The offensive line is suspect, but the pieces are there. We talked earlier, the defense is good, but the Steelers are in a transition to a quote-unquote rebuild. So give me the Bengals to beat up on small hands.
All right.
At home.
Going with the sweep. I'm going with the split. I'm saying the Steelers win this one. On primetime. This is Sunday Night Football, too. I think they pull off the dub. Week 12 on the road against the Tennessee Titans. Titans, I felt like they may take a little bit of a step back going into this year. And but they still got a pretty decent team. The defense is okay. Is Derrick Henry still there? I'm going to say this is going to be an upset loss. I'm taking Tennessee to win at home.
I will take the Bengals here. And we saw what happened in the playoff game.
Clapback.
We did.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think that right now, I don't like Ryan Tannehill. I think Ryan Tannehill is going to take another step back. I mean, you took away his best weapon, his all-star weapon. Yep.
That was questionable to me why they did that, but
I mean, it was one of those things. A.J. Brown wanted to get paid, and the Titans said, "We're not going to pay you." Sorry, big dog. And I love Treylon Burks. I'm a huge Treylon Burks fan. But the offense definitely changes with no A.J. Brown. That's the adjustment you have to make. As you're going from an established, I would say top 10, top 12 receiver to a rookie. And not all rookies are going to have fantastic explosions years. They added Robert Woods.
But he's coming off an injury.
He is. Austin Hooper is there, which I did not realize.
Yep.
Austin Hooper's a good tight end. But guess what? I'm not scared of Derrick Henry. We shut down Derrick Henry in the playoffs. I know he was coming back from an injury, and I get that. But both times we have faced Derrick Henry since 2020, we have beat the Titans. We have shut down Derrick Henry to the extent that he doesn't run all over us like he does everybody else. It's just going to come down to, can we protect Joe Burrow? Because that defense gets after you. I mean, they sacked Joe Burrow 9 fucking times. That's inexcusable. I mean, they probably have, I think, a top 5 defensive line, especially in the interior. I mean, Jeffrey Simmons is an animal, just an animal to deal with. But when push comes to shove, I don't see where Tennessee is better than the Bengals at tit for tat. So give me the Bengals to continue their winning streak against the Tennessee Titans.
All right. I'm calling it upset here. Week 13 at home against the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. I'm taking the Chiefs.
I'm not taking the Chiefs. I know it's a bit biased. I know I have the Bengals at like 3 losses right now, but I think the Chiefs may be the worst team in the West, honestly.
Ooh.
I mean, the Chiefs, I think, got significantly worse across the board. I mean, part of what makes that offense work is Mahomes doing inhumane shit to Tyreek Hill. You lost probably like a top 3 wide receiver quarterback connection in the league. The level that they were on, the connection they had, is really hard to replace. It just is. I mean, part of what makes Mahomes great is being able to find Tyreek Hill off these off-script plays. You don't have that anymore. I'm not a big fan of adding Juju to that offense. I don't think Juju is that good. I don't think that Juju offers a ton of upside. I love Sky Moore. I love his potential there. But Sky Moore is a rookie, and he's not going to come in and be able to replicate what Tyreek Hill was doing. And the biggest loss is Tyrann Mathieu. They did not replace Tyrann Mathieu, and that dude held that defense together. He's the field general. He's the heart and soul of that defense, and you just let him go. You let him go. You didn't adequately replace him, and that entire division got better. So I really think this should be a game the Bengals win. I mean, and our defensive coordinator has Mahomes figured out. I mean, in the first half, Mahomes had owned the Bengals.
Right.
In 4 second-half quarters, we held the Chiefs to 6 points.
Yep.
So something is there that we can figure out. I don't think the Chiefs' defense can stop us, and I think that this should be a game where the Bengals show they can still hang with the big dogs.
All right. Getting into Week 14, matching up against the Dog Pound once again, this time in the jungle. I'm going with the Bengals winning this one.
I am going with the Browns to win this one.
Okay.
I think that Deshaun Watson will be back for this game. I think that even without Deshaun Watson, I think this is a game where we overlook the Browns, looking ahead to a very, very difficult matchup with the Buccaneers that's next. I think that the Browns are still going to be in that playoff hunt. I think this is a game where they come in, take advantage of the Bengals, maybe not being fully set. Deshaun Watson's back. They're starting to cook on offense. They could exploit some weaknesses the Bengals have. So give me the Browns to beat the Bengals at home.
All right, going into week number 15, another brutal matchup right here. Buccaneers hosting your Bengals. I'm going to take the Bucs.
I am also going to take the Bucs here. I think this is a very difficult matchup for the Bengals. Tom Brady has owned the Bengals. Tom Brady is still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. That Bucs defense is fantastic. They can match us at the receiver position. I think that the Bucs offense is probably a bit better than the Bengals, and they're the better coach team. And those teams win in December and January. And are you really going to bet against Tom Brady in this spot? I mean, it is what it is.
No.
Give me the Bucs, begrudgingly so. Give me the Bucs.
All right, going into Week 16, Bengals on the road in Gillette Stadium against the New England Patriots. Patriots take a step back this year, even if they did make have a good offseason this past offseason. That doesn't matter. Bengals are going to win this one.
I have the Bengals losing this game.
Bengals losing to the Patriots.
I do. I think that the Patriots are an incredibly well-coached team.
Of course they are.
They always find a way to knock off a really solid team. They always do. No matter how bad they are, no matter what it is, the Patriots are so well-coached. And Bill Belichick sometimes knows your offense better than you know it. And I think the Patriots are actually a good team. I think they have a lot of potential on offense. I think that if Mac Jones can take that step, they have a really good running game. I think Devontae Parker is a really nice complement to Mac Jones. I think the Patriots' defense is a bit underrated. I think that the Patriots come together, and the Bengals, again, they're a young team. I think they may get caught looking ahead to what's a pivotal matchup the following week, and they may overlook a team that people don't think are going to be very good.
I'm hoping not. This is I think Christmas Eve game.
Christmas Eve game.
This is Christmas Eve.
I think the Patriots are better than people want to give them credit for, and I think the Patriots are going to find a way to beat the Cincinnati Bengals.
I'm thinking their secondary is not going to be able to hold up against your wide receiving core and Joe Burrow, and I don't think they have the firepower offensively to keep up with you guys.
They don't, but I also have the Bengals with 3 losses, and I wanted to tamper down expectations. I got the comments being like, he's such a fucking homer. Oh my God, you're stupid, homer, yada, yada, yada. So I want to temper some expectations and be, this is a game that we could end up losing on its face.
All right. I want to hear your expectations for Week 17, Monday Night Football against the Buffalo
Monday Night
Bills.
Football, number 1 seed on the line. Woo. Fuck you, Josh Allen. Fuck you, Buffalo. We're going to beat the goddamn Bills, and Joe Burrow's going to drag his fucking nuts across the Bills' defense, and what will be the game of the year, a fucking shootout in Cincinnati, number 1 seed on the line, Monday Night Football. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills, man, they're gonna be a top 5 team offensively,
So are the
defensively.
Bengals.
You want to talk about one of the best wide receiver quarterback connections? Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, they have that. I think the running back situation is gonna be a lot more balanced this year. This is going to absolutely be one of the marquee matchups of the entire season. You know damn well I'm going to be streaming this one. And you know what? I'm going with the Bengals to win this one. I agree with you. I'm going with the Bengals.
The Buffalo's a fantastic team.
Of course.
Across the board.
Absolutely.
This is gonna be tit for tat, a mano a mano, two I would say in my mind, 2 top 5 quarterbacks battling it out under the lights, 2 of the brightest young receivers. I guess Stephon Diggs is not that young, but 2 of the best connections in the league going toe-to-toe under the lights. What more could you ask for?
Woo.
I just think the Bengals have a bit more firepower than Buffalo does.
I can't wait for that one. Week 18 to end the year. Bengals, Ravens, the second matchup of the year. I'm going to have a split in the series. Give me the Bengals to win this one.
I also have the Bengals winning this final week of the season, finishing off the season with 2 big wins. Going into the postseason, I think that we will have a better success against Lamar this year. I think the Bengals have a blueprint these last couple games to figure out what Lamar's been doing. The league has started to implement their game plan against Lamar, which is to blitz the fuck out of him. And I think, the lack of receivers that Baltimore has, their running backs may be a bit worn down at this point in the season. Go ahead, give me the Bengals to finish off with 2 strong wins to end the NFL season.
Okay. So for me, the Cincinnati Bengals are 11-6. That's their record I have right now for them. And I have them falling just short of the AFC North title behind the Baltimore Ravens. Now, B-Money?
I had them at 12-5.
12-5.
Yeah.
Okay. So B-Money's got 12-5. I got 11-6. When I look at the ceiling, yeah, you guys could sweep the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
That could be a sweep. You guys could beat Tennessee. I could see that win against Kansas City, which you had. So I could see a 14-win season for the Bengals, even with this hard schedule in the AFC, which has got a lot of teams competing. My ceiling's going to be 14 wins. I think my floor is probably going to be not too much lower than what I had your record prediction to be. I'm going to say 9 wins is your floor.
I have the ceiling at 14 wins too. And I would say our floor would be, 11-6.
Ooh,
in that range. 11
that's a high floor.
11. Let's do 10-7.
Okay.
I think 10-7. I think that depending on injuries, if the ball bounced our way, there's a couple games here that could go either way.
Yeah.
Like obviously the Patriots game we could win. That Bills game could go the other way. That Chiefs game could go the other way. That Titans game could go the other way. I could see us dropping a game to Miami. I think Miami is a spot where they could surprise us. But overall, I feel pretty good that the Bengals are in great position to go back to the playoffs and have another very successful season. I have all the tools in place to go back. It's just a matter of fact of finding some consistency on offense. Staying healthy, obviously, is a big part of that, staying healthy. And, I mean, let's face it, this is a luck league. You have to have things bounce your way. You have to be disciplined, which the Bengals were last year. Continue that discipline. And, you have to have some things bounce your way in this league. And, I think that Joe Burrow is now at the point where he may get some of those, shall we say, not bullshit, but those, tic-tac calls where...
Go his way?
Yeah, like, hey, are you sure that's roughing the passer? Are you sure? Like, you know what I mean?
He might be on his way for that. He might be on his way for that.
It all, once you reach that point where you're a star, I mean, yeah. If you fucking look at Tom Brady the wrong way, that's a flag. I mean, that's just how it is in the league. If you're a star, they're gonna coddle you like a little baby. They're gonna be more likely to, sneak you a call this way or that way.
Oh, absolutely. That's how it goes.
And
But man, your Bengals, dude, absolutely looking good going into this year. I'm excited to look out for them.
I am
and
too.
Call some of their games on prime time.
It's been a while because this is the most
Yeah.
primetime games we've had that I can remember. Even when we were good in that 2012.
Carson Palmer days?
No, but the Dalton days.
The Dalton days, okay.
We never got this kind of love in prime time. And the only thing that disappoints me is that we have three. It's either 2 or 3 divisional road games in prime time.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is like kind of bullshit. Like that's a really tough ask. Oh, it is. It's Baltimore Sunday Night Football,
Pittsburgh,
Steelers Sunday Night Football,
and the Browns,
and then Ravens Monday Night Football, all on the road, which is kind of a shit draw.
Yeah.
Personally, because I would love to see some of those games at home, but yeah, man, you can only do what you can do in this league, and I think we have a bright future this year. I think the future actually. And you know what? We'll see what happens. This is a crazy league. Who would have thought that the Bengals would have gone to the Super Bowl last year?
Nobody. I didn't.
Not even me. And you know me. I'm probably the most optimistic Bengals fan there
Definitely
is.
the most optimistic I know.
And the Bengals lost some dumb games last year. I mean, we lost to the Bears early in the year. We dropped an absolutely pathetic game against the Jets. We dropped a game we should have won against the 49ers. We fumbled the ball 3 times on punts. We almost lost to the Broncos. Like, we, got to clean some stuff up, get more consistent. And most importantly of all, you got to protect Joe Burrow. If we protect Joe Burrow this year, who stops the Bengals if Joe Burrow is protected? I mean, we have the best 3 receivers. The best trio in the league, I think, are in Cincinnati.
Arguably, yeah.
They all complement each other really well. Joe Mixon's going to have a great year. So we'll see what happens. But this is the most excited I've been for a Bengals season in quite some time because, like you said, there's expectations. And I think a team, especially a Joe Burrow, loves that. Because Joe Burrow hated that nonsense that the why not us, we're the underdogs, that, no one believes in us. Joe Burrow hates that bullshit.
That's good. It's a good mindset to have.
One of those dudes who takes the fucking bull by the horn. Like, it is us, motherfucker. We are that team. And, I mean, listen, Joe Burrow's mindset, I think, sets him apart. That dude will not accept losing in this league.
That's exactly what you need in a leader like Joe Burrow. That's the kind of swagger that you have to have. I love that for you guys. Chat. Everyone in the comment section, please let me know what your record prediction is for the Cincinnati Bengals. If you have any hot takes or what you think the Bengals can do in the playoffs, I want to know about them in the comment section. Make sure you guys hit that like button and show some love to B Money for an amazing breakdown of the Cincinnati Bengals going into this year. Thank you so much for joining me, B.
Hey, no problem, man. Thanks for having me. Remember, guys, who day, all day, especially on Sunday.
All right. See you guys in the season. Best of luck and best of health.
Guys. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.